All right, let's make a Mesquite Peppercorn Lager smoked brisket. Starting with an 11-pound brisket, I'm gonna trim off any of the excess fat on the flat and taking off a decent amount of fat on the point, getting a 1/4 inch thick fat on the actual backside with the fat cap. Using my Mesquite Peppercorn Lager seasoning, I'm gonna thoroughly season this brisket, but use whatever seasoning that you have at home. Once that's ready, I'm gonna place that in the fridge to set overnight. Preheating my fire to 250 the next morning, we're gonna get that roaring and placing the brisket on. I place mine fat cap side down with the point facing the fire. Next, let's make the spritz, adding some lager, a little bit of white wine vinegar, and some hot sauce. We're gonna mix that together and make this spritz. We're gonna spritz it about once every hour, keeping good moisture on the brisket so we don't dry it out. We're gonna start looking for it to pool with a little bit of fat on top. This is going to tell us we're getting close to the stall, which is at around 165 internal. When we hit that stall, we're gonna actually pull the brisket off and we're gonna wrap it so we can push through the stall really fast. I'm using 2 whole pieces of peach butcher paper, wrapping the brisket off on one side, and then I'm gonna roll it on top of itself to get a nice tight seal on the butcher paper. I use 2 4-foot pieces of butcher paper, but you're more than welcome to use what you like. You can also use aluminum foil if you want. Once it's wrapped, we're gonna place it back on the smoker at 250 to cook for another couple of hours until it hits 202 to 203 internal. Once we're good, we're gonna pull it off and let it rest at room temperature for about an hour so we can redistribute all that juice inside of it. When we're ready to slice into it, we're gonna unravel it from the butcher paper. You can discard the butcher paper and get it perfect and ready to go. We're gonna slice this guy in a special way, making sure that we go against the grain. Look at that beautiful brisket. This was so freaking juicy. Such a fun recipe to do. All right, we're gonna start by slicing it right down the middle, separating the point and the flat. You can see I'm holding the point, and look how juicy that guy is. That's when you know you got a good brisket. I'm holding the point, the flat is on my right. We're gonna slice these two in 2 separate ways. So I'm gonna push the flat over to the side and slice the point right down the middle, rotating it 90 degrees so we start slicing against the grain. This is very important. If you cook this guy for 14 hours and you slice it wrong, it's gonna be a waste. I'm gonna start slicing this guy into about pencil thick cuts. Anything larger is going to be too thick and anything smaller is going to be too thin. All right, we're going to slice the flat just like you would think, starting from the initial slice and going across. We're going to set this all up and dive right in. You can find the whole written recipe on my blog over firecooking.com. Cheers.